Some people are not living freely. They are living around old danger. Have you ever had a quiet moment and still felt like your body would not let you soften? Have you ever walked into a room and instinctively checked the mood before you could even be fully present? Maybe someone has been gentle with you, patient with you, and something inside you still keeps waiting for the moment it turns. Or maybe one small remark, one slight shift in tone, lands harder than it should, and suddenly your whole day starts bending around it. If that feels familiar, these reactions may not be random. What you call just how I am may be your nervous system repeating an old survival pattern. Because when your body learns danger early, ordinary life can start to feel strangely loaded. Silence can feel heavy, rest can feel unsafe, kindness can feel suspicious. A small criticism can feel much bigger than it is, and that is part of what makes this so confusing. Other people may call you dramatic, distant, difficult, or too sensitive, but from the inside it often feels automatic. Here are 10 signs trauma may still be running your life without you realizing it. Trauma does not always come back the way people expect. That is what makes these signs so easy to miss. It does not always return as a memory you can point to. Sometimes it returns as a pattern, the way you tense up, the way you stay guarded, the way you blame yourself too fast, the way your body never fully powers down, even when the danger is over. So when certain reactions in you feel confusing, that does not always mean they are irrational. It may mean they make sense in a deeper place. What looks irrational in the present often makes perfect sense in the history of your body. It is not a flaw, it is a function. The first sign is this: you apologize for things that do not need an apology. You apologize for asking a question twice. You apologize for sending a follow-up. You apologize for needing help. You apologize for taking up time, space, or attention. Sometimes you even apologize when someone else is the one being abrupt. If your needs once created tension, irritation, or punishment, your brain may have learned something very early. Keep yourself small, and things stay calmer, stay easy, stay agreeable, cause less friction. Psychologists sometimes connect this to a fawn response, where safety starts to feel tied to pleasing other people. So no, you may not be too apologetic. You may be trying to make yourself less punishable. The second sign is feeling exhausted even when nothing big happened. You get through a normal day, and somehow your body feels used up. Not because there was a crisis, not because anything dramatic happened, but because you were reading the room the whole time, watching people's faces, catching shifts in tone, noticing who sounded off, who seemed colder, who might be irritated, disappointed, or distant. That kind of constant tracking creates a hidden workload. Trauma does not need chaos to exhaust you. A body trained to scan for danger can create its own workload. So by the end of an ordinary day, you may feel like you have been carrying something heavy without being able to explain what it was. You can spend an ordinary day feeling like your body just survived something your mind cannot name. The third sign is overthinking everything. You replay conversations on the drive home. You reread someone's silence. A delayed reply feels loaded. A short message makes you wonder if you did something wrong. Your mind keeps trying to solve for danger before danger has a chance to show up. And from the outside, that can look excessive. But from the inside, it often feels necessary. Because overthinking is not always madness. Sometimes it is prediction. Sometimes it is the brain trying to stay one step ahead of pain, rejection, embarrassment, or conflict. Your mind may not be obsessed with details. It may be trying to predict pain before it arrives. And then there is this one. You cannot relax, even when things are fine. Nothing is wrong, and yet your body will not settle. You sit down to rest and feel guilty. You take a break and feel behind. You finally get a quiet moment, and instead of relief, you feel restless. Like you should be checking something, fixing something, preparing for something. When stress becomes familiar, peace can feel like poor preparation. That is why calm can feel strangely uncomfortable for people who have lived in survival mode for too long. Not because peace is bad, but because it is unfamiliar. For some people, peace does not feel safe. It feels like the moment before something goes wrong. The fifth sign is harder to talk about because it does not always sound like fear. Sometimes it sounds like your own voice. You make one small mistake, and something inside you turns on you fast. Not just, that was awkward. Not just, I should have done better. It becomes, I am so stupid. I ruin everything. Of course I got that wrong. And somehow, shame feels believable faster than kindness does. Praise can feel exaggerated. Reassurance can feel thin. But self-attack lands immediately. That is part of what makes this so painful. Sometimes the abuse does not end when the person leaves. It survives in the way you speak to yourself. Old criticism can become inner language. Old humiliation can become identity. And over time, the voice that hurt you most can stop sounding foreign. It can start sounding like you. The hardest voice to escape is often the one that learned to sound like you. And this is the part people often miss. They see the reaction, but not the reason. They see someone who seems dramatic, cold, needy, too sensitive, distant. They judge the pattern without ever asking what shaped it. People often judge the symptom and never meet the wound. What gets labeled too much is sometimes a nervous system that never got to feel safe enough. The sixth sign is emotional numbness when things get too intense. Some people do not explode when they are overwhelmed. They go quiet, they smile on the outside, and feel almost nothing on the inside. They know they care, they know something matters. But they cannot fully reach the feeling in the moment. That can be deeply confusing, especially if you start wondering whether you are becoming cold, heartless, or detached. But sometimes numbness is not the absence of feeling. It is feeling with the volume forced down. When emotions once became too overwhelming, the mind can learn to shut certain doors halfway. Not because you do not care, but because full access started to feel like overload. The seventh sign is struggling to trust people. Even kind people can feel hard to relax around. Even welcome can feel unreal. A delayed response can quickly become a story about rejection. A gentle person can still make part of you brace for the turn, the disappointment, the withdrawal, the moment they change. This is one of the loneliest effects of trauma because it can make closeness feel risky, even when you want it. Part of you may want love, while another part is already preparing to survive it. The eighth sign is that small conflicts do not feel small to you. A slight change in someone's tone can tighten your whole body. A dry message can stay with you for hours. Being cut off mid-sentence can hit harder than it seems like it should. A little criticism, a little distance, a little coldness, and suddenly your chest is tight, your thoughts are racing, and part of you wants out. That is because the body often reacts before the mind has time to explain. Your mind may know it is a small conflict. Your body may still read it as the beginning of danger. And when that happens often enough, something else can start happening too. Healthy starts to feel unfamiliar. Steady love can feel strange. Calm people can feel hard to read. A relationship with no drama can feel empty, suspicious, or unreal. Not because chaos is better, but because chaos is familiar. Hot and cold behavior can feel easier to recognize. You know how to move around it. You know how to brace for it. You know how to survive it. Your body does not automatically trust what is good. It trusts what it has practiced. And that is one of trauma's cruelest tricks. It can make familiar pain feel safer than unfamiliar peace. The 10th sign is that under stress, you freeze. Your mind goes blank in the middle of conflict. The words you need disappear. You think of what you should have said hours later, when the moment is already gone. In real time, all you can do is shut down, go quiet, or feel like something in you just pulled away from the surface. That can make people think you had nothing to say. It can make you think you were weak. But sometimes your silence is not weakness. It is your system choosing survival over expression. For some people, freezing is the emergency brake. When the body believes too much is happening too fast, it does not always fight. It does not always run. Sometimes it shuts things down just enough to get through. If you recognized yourself in several of these signs, it does not mean you are broken. It means your system learned something. It adapted. It found ways to protect you, reduce pain, stay alert, stay small, stay ready, stay numb, stay guarded, stay quiet. These signs may look different on the surface, but many of them come from the same place: a body trying to prevent pain and a nervous system repeating an old emergency map long after the original danger has passed. Your nervous system is not trying to ruin your life, it is trying to run an old emergency plan in a life that has already moved on. That is why healing matters. Not because you need to become a different person, but because you deserve to live in the present without constantly answering to the past. It is not a flaw, it is a function. You are not broken, you are patterned. And patterns can be understood, interrupted, and slowly rewritten. That is where power starts to return. Because once you can name the pattern, it no longer gets to pretend it is your personality. It no longer gets to hide inside the words, "This is just how I am." So if this felt familiar, I would love to know which sign hit you the hardest, or which one people tend to misunderstand most about you. And if this connected with you, the next conversation should be about how trauma can make healthy love feel unsafe, and how healing slowly begins to change that. If this kind of psychology helps you understand yourself a little more clearly, you can stay with the channel for more. And if you think someone else might need this today, you can quietly pass it on. And if this felt familiar, the next step is not more self-blame. It is learning why safety can feel so strange and how that begins to change.